Welcome to our weekly program, The Inside Story of Chabad in America through the Mindel Archives. Last week, we mentioned how the Rebbe was careful about other people's feelings, not to show favoritism, and we should follow the way the Rebbe felt about other Yidden. My father always used to say, it's very easy to clap Hashamnu, Bagadnu, the Eibishter, Yaski for Mechila. But another Yid, this is harder to ask for Mechila. And Bichlal, between you and the Eibishter is one thing. That's private. But Chepanish can undereaten. Don't hurt other people. If you know that by you saying something, you might embarrass other people, don't do it. This is a very, very important thing and my father always used to say it. Now, why am I saying this now? A few weeks ago, he had programs about Vara Masifin, and I'm not going to go to, you can always click back and see. And as Rabbi Chadakov wrote to the Rebbe, thousands of letters came in from people, what they're going to do. This one will be Moisif in this one will be Moisif in mitzvahs, in Torah, in everything, whatever it is. And the Rebbe, I mentioned, made comments on certain names. And I mentioned that I will mention some names that the Rebbe commented. Now, I was thinking about that. And I went and I asked the Mashpia about that. So the Mashpia told me he doesn't think it's kedai to do that. I should go over to the person that the Rebbe answered. Let's say the Rebbe said should be batzloch or whatever. Fine, I can do that. But to speak in public, maybe you might hurt somebody's feelings. Very important not to hurt people's feelings. Maybe somebody did the same thing. Somebody wrote he made a class in Torah, and the Rebbe answered him batzlocha, and the other person, the Rebbe did not answer him. So maybe he might feel bad. Or what? So just don't do it in public. Do it private. And I Hashem, I will, and I'll even show the person what the Rebbe wrote on his name. So that's why I'm not going to say in public the comments that the Rebbe made. That's number one. Also, it's written from the Chofetz Chaim. Very important, and this is before Elul. How you have to be careful somebody's feeling, not be mevatel somebody else. And he says there is a different in madrigas. For example, if a person says to a shoemaker, you are an am ha'oretz, you don't know how to learn. And that shoemaker does know how to learn. Okay, so it's lashon hara, or it's mitzvah shemra, and it kills three. Because lashon hara kills three. It kills the one who says, the one who listens, and the one who you're speaking about. Okay? Or you tell the shoemaker or somebody else, you're not a chazan, and he is a chazan. So you're hurting his feelings, and it's lashon hara. It's something's not true. Whatever. Or you tell a lamdan, you don't know how to read the Torah. Okay? So and he does. Or you say something else. You're not whatever it is. It's one thing. But when you tell somebody, he writes, when you tell a lamdan, you don't know how to learn. When you tell a rav, you don't know how to paskin, that's called shfichas domim. That's worse. When you tell a shoemaker, you don't know how to learn, and he does, okay, that's no good. Shouldn't do it. But when you tell him you don't know how to fix shoes, which he puts his whole mitzias, his whole life in the shoes, in fixing shoes, and you mevatel him, that's shvichas domim. And he writes that when the Novi says, "Ubefereshchem kapeichem alam eina mikem, gam kisarbu tfilo inenu shomeili yedechem domim eleu." You can stand by your Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and you can daven to the Eibishter and be the biggest tzaddik. But when you embarrassed, when you made somebody not feel the way you should, you hurt somebody's feelings. Even if you daven Yidechem domim eleyu. This is shvichas domim, because the person becomes embarrassed, a person becomes ashamed, and so the tefillas is a problem. The Eibishter will close his eyes in the tefillas. That's how important it is to know this before the time of slichas and before the Aseres Yom and Rosh Hashanah. That's one thing. Now I want to say to you something very, very interesting that Rabbi Mindel's father-in-law, Rabbi Avram Sender Nemtsov, said a word. And I was always wondering why, and now I know the answer. I made in the kivot that I think that everybody should use it, and we can all remember this word. He's the one, he was a chassid of the Rebbe Rashab, Rabbi Avram Sender Nemtsov. He was a chassid of the Frierdiker Rebbe, chassid of the Rebbe. He's the one who actually, Yud Aleph Shvat, he stood up on the table and said, Shechiyonu v'kimonu v'giyonu, and he made the Rebbe became a Rebbe. The Frierdiker Rebbe said on him, I mentioned once, he was a Ish Emes. You searched for the truth, you found the truth, and you lived with the truth. This is Avram Sender. So he asked the Shaila, he says like this, we say every Shabbos, and we say Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur in Machzer. Right at the beginning of davening, Shacharis. It says, B'fi Yishorim Tisraimam, Uv'sifsei Tzadikim Tizbarich, Uv'ilshoin Chasidim Tizkadosh, Uv'kerev Kedoshim Tizhalol. So every Shabbos, it's regular, printed regular. In the Machzer, Rosh Yom Kippur, B'fi Yishorim is a big Yud, Yishorim. Uv'sifsei Tzadikim, the Tzadik is a big Tzadik. Uv'ilshoin Chasidim, the Ches is a big Ches. Uv'kerev Kedoshim is a big Kuf. That's Yitzchak. Going down, that's Yitzchak. On the other side, B'fi Yishorim, excuse me, Tisraimam is a big Reish. Uv'sifsei Tzadikim Tizbarich, Tizkadosh is Tizbarich is a big, Uv'sifsei Tizbarich is a big base. Uv'ilshoin Chasidim Tizkadosh is a big Kuf. Uv'kerev Kedoshim Tizhalol is a big Hey. That's Rivka. Yitzchak and Rivka. So he says, I was wondering, why, what does Yitzchak and Rivka have to do right in the beginning of the tefillas of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Davke, capital letters, Yitzchak and Rivka? What shaykhs? So he explained something very, very important. And this is for us to all remember. The Torah says that that Yitzchak called over Esav. And he says to Esav, before I die, I want to bench you, I want to bless you, bring me food, and I will bless you. So Esav went to bring food to get ready. Rivka, the wife, the mother, heard what Yitzchak was telling Esav. So what did she do? She called over Yaakov Avinu, and she said, Yaakov, I heard that your father wants to bless Esav. I'm going to prepare food. Go and get the blessing before Esav comes. And I'm going to put on you the big day Esav. This is the important word. I'm going to put the clothes of Esav on you. Those clothes of Esav, he used to hunt, he used to murder with those clothes. I put it on you, go and get the bracha right away. Of course, Yaakov Avinu, excuse me, said, I mean, it's like a trick or whatever. He said, don't worry, Rivka, that's on me. So the question is, he says, Yitzchak and Rivka had Shalom Bayis. Yitzchak Avinu, Rivka Imeinu. Couldn't Rivka go over to Yitzchak, Pashtus, and tell Yitzchak, you're my husband. I'm a mother, you're blind. I know that Yaakov needs the brachas. Why didn't she do it this way? Why did she go a roundabout way? And by the way, which we will speak in Pasha Tel this in Mirza Hashem, there is English letters between the Rebbe and the Reform Rabbi and Rabbi Mindel, a whole discussion, because the Reform Rabbi said that Jews are trickers because Rivka tricked the bracha. And the Rebbe was saying, and the whole thing over there, the opposite, that he doesn't understand, Pasha, in the Torah, it doesn't make sense. But I don't want to go into this now. I just want to bring out this word. So why couldn't she go over and tell her husband? So the father-in-law of Rabbi Mindel said like this. She, a Jewish mother, the mother of Klal Yisrael, knew that the brachas of Yitzchak is not only to Yaakov Avinu, but to all Yidden until end of days. Ad soif kol hadoros. She, as a mother, wanted that even if a Jew wears big day Esav, clothes of Esav, should also be blessed. And that's why she went on Mesiras Nefesh. She went in this way. Dafke the bracha should come down in a clothes of Esav. Meaning, even Yidden that are Mechal Shabbos b'far Hesia, even Yidden that eat treif, even Yidden that the Jews that do Kol Dover Asa Shabaylam, their children, they have a neshama. They should be blessed. And that's why she wanted to do it in this way. Therefore, when it comes to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, those Yidden never step in shul. They never go to shul. Those are Yidden that go to shul once a year. So this year, and who accomplished? So Yitzchak and Rivka accomplished that these Yidden should also be blessed. They should also have Aksiv V'Achsimoteva. That's why the Yitzchak and Rivka right in the beginning of the Tefillah of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I think it's amazing word. Af al pi shechoto Yisrael hu. We always say, even though he didn't, he's still Yisrael. But one thing, he says, we have to remember that Yisrael shaloi choto is also a Yisrael. Sometimes you walk into a shul, you walk into a Chabad house even, Shabbos, a person walks in who is loy choto, who is a frum Yid, with a beard, with payas, frum. I mean, okay, he's a frum Yid. But when a person walks in with a little yarmulke, like a bottle cap, or not even a yarmulke, everybody goes around and invites him for Shabbos, come over to me and I'll put on tefillin and everything. What about the other Yid? So it has to be Af al pi shechota Yisrael, who you have to know, but we also have to know that Yisrael shaloi choto is also Yisrael, to be equal. And here I'll finish off with another word that Rabbi Nemtsov, I think he heard it from the Rebbe. I saw he said it, but I think that the Rebbe said in the name of the Frierdiker Rebbe. The Rebbe used to write in letters to people. He said, "Havosik v'chosid ish yir elikim vosik v'chosid." So somebody asked the Rebbe. I think, what's the idea of vosik? What does it mean, vosik v'chosid? So he was saying there, Rosh Yom Kippur, he has a whole Torah about Rosh Yom Kippur. He says, when Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur come, and it's a time of tefillah, the Rebbe says, vosik, you have to go to shul like a vosik. Vosik is vosikin, early. Go to shul early, daven, v'chosid, and go out like a chosid. Go in like a vosik, and go out like a chosid. And this is the achlota that we have to take the lesson before Rosh Hashanah. And I want to give a bracha that the Rebbe says al helfen, that we should have a year of atzlocha, a year of simchas. Everybody who needs simchas, who needs shidduchim, should get shidduchim. And it should be a healthy year, a year of, it says, Breishis bara. The beginning bara means healthy. You have to be healthy, that's number one. And we should get potter from all these viruses. No more magefis, no more viruses. And all the brachas as the Rebbe used to give, from Aleph to Tov, should be mekuyim b'meluam, and we should have a gemar chsima teva, l'shana teva, umesuka. Thank you.